One of the things I like to say is you don't know how good you can feel until you feel that good, because a lot of people have never really felt great and they don't even realize that.
Welcome back to the Sunshine Cafe. I'm Lisa Roers, your host, and hey, thanks for joining me today. I'm here just to pour some positive back into your day with practical tips and stories to encourage and inspire. So let's dive in. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Sunshine Cafe. I'm Lisa Roers, your host, and today I'm so excited to welcome to the show the amazing Michelle Kooi. She's an author, a coach, and she's really passionate about being an advocate for wellness and wellness in whatever form it may take, from finance to our physical and our mental wellness. She's out there making a difference. So Michelle equips others to step into their strength, and her new book, which is coming out really soon, is called Burn, From Struggle to Strength. And I know she's going to tell us a little bit more about that. But I also know you're going to be really inspired by her story and her insights. So Michelle Kooi, welcome to the Sunshine Cafe.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here, Lisa.
It's really good to have you. We've had a couple conversations and I just have so enjoyed getting to know you and meeting you. And your work is so rooted in helping other people. I love what you're doing out there. I also know that the strength that you have and the passion for this topic that you have has kind of come out of some real personal struggle. So take us back a little bit and share a little bit about your own story and kind of what led you to write your book and serve others the way you do today.
Yes, yes. So I actually started writing this book in 2010, so 15 years ago, and probably got a fair way through it. And then my life uh, kind of fell apart. But I really had started writing it. It was almost like I couldn't not write it.
Yeah.
I was, I just really wanted to share my story and help other people with what I had to share, that I wasn't the only one kind of going through some of these things. So really, the book is about personal transformation and resilience and walking through the fire. So it's Burn, From Struggle to Strength, a woman's guide to reclaiming herself. And I feel like we, just with our just society in general, but we have become so disconnected, even though we're more connected than other, like electronically, but we've become disconnected from others and from ourselves. And that leads to this craving for connection with spirituality, connection with ourselves, connection with others. And at the same time, we're feeling disconnected. So the book is a lot about that. We talk about anxiety and standing up for yourself and, feeling like we're stepping into your power rather than being powerless. So there's just we'll get into it some more, but I'm just so excited. I was in a visualization kind of meditation in a group a few years ago, and they asked us, if you were on your deathbed, what is something that you would regret not doing? And the first thing that came to me was writing this book. And so I had set it aside when my life fell apart in 2012 and didn't look at it for 5 years. And when I picked it back up, things had changed so much. I had gotten divorced. I had moved across the state. I had just so many things had changed. I put it down and started over. And I've been working on it for 6 years. And so this is really um, a long time coming, and I'm very excited, scared and excited.
Oh my goodness. Anybody who's ever written a book understands the work that goes into that. And if anyone's ever not written a book and has never thought about it, you don't realize all the steps that are part of that process. It is really a labor of love. But I also think that whenever it comes out, I know we get delayed and we stop and we start, but I trust that whenever it gets out there, it's going to be the perfect timing because, like you said, your story is evolving as you're writing this and as you're refining it and editing it. And there's going to be some gold nuggets in that story that you're going to add that you wouldn't have added before, just because of the time frame. So I'm
Yes.
excited to have that come out. And you'd mentioned too how your life had fallen apart. And my goodness, don't we all go through that? We all we're cruising along, things are good. And then life, I always say it, life shows up because our lives are prone to fall apart. That's just part of it. Is that we're all going to have unexpected things that come into it. But It's finding the strength and the resilience through those challenges that really makes us who we are. So, how do you work through that in the book or with people you work with?
Yeah, so it's really I talk so much about self-care and how you mentioned wellness at the beginning, just all the different facets of that. And, from what we eat to how we speak to ourselves, self-talk, and how we structure our day and our week, the rhythms that we work in or don't work in, and
Mhm.
our mental space and how we take care of that part of us and our finances. So, I mean, I am a CPA as well and spent 20 years in public accounting. And through that period of time, I hit multiple burnouts. And I mean, to the point of being physically ill, like I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder after my most recent burnout in 2020. I came down with shingles in 2016 from stress from work as part of that burnout. So, really helping people realize because it can sneak up on you, like realizing where you are and how to manage all of that and take care of ourselves. Like one of the things I like to say is you don't know how good you can feel until you feel that good because a lot of people have never really felt great and they don't even realize that. So
Right.
like when my life was falling apart and I got divorced, my son was having some extreme issues with physical health and mental health in high school and I had struggled with chronic fatigue my whole life and had been searching for a way to figure that out. And basically, the doctors had told me that, that's just the way it was. And I just did not accept that there was something causing that. And I just was on this mission for years and years to figure out what it was. And I figured it out on my own through like a cleanse that I did. I eliminated all kinds of different things. And it ended up that wheat, I was sensitive to that. And that completely changed my energy level, and having more energy gave me the ability to make decisions and make huge changes in my life that I would have not been able to make. So, energy, the energy we have and the way we use it is so important. And I just don't want people to accept that they need to be tired all the time.
Exactly. We have kind of this epidemic that feeling sick or bad or tired is normal. And it's just so not normal to feel, like you said, your doctor was telling you that's normal or nothing to be concerned about. And I think we have this reductionist perspective of most things that, sure, I can handle a little piece of bread, or sure, I can handle some sugar, or sure, I can handle fill in the blank. But when you start layering sugar on top of wheat, on top of stress, on top of like our bodies don't handle the load of all of these things. And so I think that's part of the reason it's hard for us to wrap our minds around one thing being bad, because one thing on its own may not be bad. But when you layer it and your body is taking all of these the load of all of those challenges, it's gonna break. Eventually, it's gonna crumble.
Yes, and everyone's body is different.
Right.
I just because I can't, I'm gluten free, but that doesn't mean somebody else needs to be gluten free.
Right.
But it may be something else for them
Yeah.
that could be doing it. It could be there's just so many different things. But the point is really not giving up and continuing to seek out what we want, whether that's more energy, more time, more freedom, and then, making the change to be able to do that. So I mostly work with women entrepreneurs, so in their first 3 years of business, where there's a huge steep learning curve, especially if they've never owned a business before. And so being able to help set up structure with kind of the people like to say I'm part like practical and spiritual and like it's like this combination of that and self-care with setting up the practical so that the business is sustainable, like helping women redefine what success is and not what society says it is. It's not the fancy cars or the fancy house or having, you know, a seven-figure income. Like, it is what are the things that are most important to you and getting really clear on that, and how can you structure your work, your life, your business so that those things are prioritized so that you can feel your best and live your best life.
I really like how you integrate the health and wellness and how we're feeling with the business side of things. Because like you said a moment ago, when we have that energy and we're feeling really good, we make better decisions. We have more energy to do more things. And I think putting them together is just such a critical thing because you can't have one without the other. You can't have a successful business if you're sick all the time. And if you're sick all the time, you can't invest in the things that really matter to you in life. So those are really good things to put together.
Yeah, and I mean, I myself didn't realize the connection between the 2 for so long. I actually went in 2012, I went through a 2-year program with the Institute of Integrative Nutrition and got a certification in holistic health coaching, really not intending to work with other people on that, just for my own health issues. But I made so many changes, and people could see the difference in how I looked and how I felt and how I acted and what I did. And they were like, I want what she's having. I, so I did start working with people that way. But at the same time, I was also still doing accounting and tax work. And I couldn't figure out how I could reconcile, like, how does this health piece merge with the money and small businesses and things like that, and I couldn't really reconcile that until my next burnout, and then it really dawned on me that, oh, these are so connected, like, people working in so many different positions, but especially, like, lawyers, doctors, accountants, like, in high stress professional jobs, but really, anybody can experience that, is that stress wears us down, and so then bringing in that health piece to help us feel better so that we can do the work that we want to do in the world. Yeah.
I think pain is unfortunately, pain is such a motivator for us human beings. We don't make the change until we feel the pain. We don't avoid the cancer until we get the diagnosis. We don't, there's so many things that we don't take action on until it's really dire and we must take action. But what I'm getting to is like, how can we avoid the burnout instead of, healing from the burnout and the strength and the resilience that comes through that? How do we avoid it in the first place?
Well, one thing I am constantly talking with my clients about and writing about is slowing down. Like that we are always moving at the speed of light and trying to just do so many things and try to do them perfectly. So we have this like vision of perfectionism and people pleasing, and doing things that even maybe don't serve us, that it's just not sustainable. And so taking time to slow down and teaching people tools to be able to do that. And it can be, it can look very different. It can be gaps in your day, it could be in your week, in your month. I talk about working with women and really paying attention to what nature is doing, like what season is it? What is going on with the sun? What is going on with the moon? And taking time to get quiet, and whether that's meditating, whether that's prayer, whether that's just sitting outside in silence and watching the birds, like taking that time to just be still and be quiet allows our body to calm down, our mind to calm down. And that's just where the gems come in, like where we're able to receive messages and receive insight and connect with our intuition and really listen to that and trying to analyze everything. I find really, especially really intelligent people that I work with, like they're constantly connecting with their brain and trying to make all the decisions from there rather than dropping down into our body and allowing the answer to arrive in
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, we've got a lot more answers in us than we think we do. Sometimes it's so easy to get wrapped around the confusion. What do I
Yes.
do? What do I do? What do I do? But if we just calm ourselves a little bit, we can clear away the confusion and really extract those mine, if you will, like almost like you're mining for gems. You can mine out those elements of clarity that are in us that are just buried. And we tend to drown out that with music and with, podcasting and all of the different things that we do to fill the space when all we really need to do is go take a walk without headphones and just
Yes.
listen. We as human beings, we're not born with headphones in our ears and music always pumping, you know? We have to take some time to just connect with nature and just be quiet. And science is really showing a lot of truth to just how much we really need to connect with nature in order just to be healthy.
Yes. I mean, for most of millennia, that is where we were, and we've gotten away from that. And there's just the energy, the vibration. Like if you go into the forest or you're standing by the ocean, it just feels different. Like it feels almost a higher source. Like it's just in a good way, like not overstimulating, but it's calming and energizing at the same time, if that makes sense. I talk about the nervous system a lot, that when we're managing our time, we're really managing our energy. When we're managing our energy, we're often managing our nervous system. And nature has this incredible capacity to calm our nervous system. This weekend, I'm actually going to a 3-day yoga workshop on polyvagal theory,
Mm.
which is about regulating our nervous system. So I'm excited to learn more about that.
Yeah. Well, I had done a podcast actually not that long ago on the power of vibrations, just from a health
Yes.
perspective, and how science is showing how certain vibrations can actually destroy cancer cells. And our bodies are vibrational. It's just kind of what we are as an expression. And so you were talking about the cycles of the moon, even. And I know it sounds, at first, someone might think it sounds a little bit wooey. But the thing is, think about how the moon pulls on the ocean. I mean, with
Yes.
all the difference that it makes in the high tides and low tides. So if it's making that much of a difference on the pull of the ocean, of course it's making a difference on the pull of our human bodies. And we just have to just acknowledge that. And it's not to take it too far to, make it the cornerstone of our life, but just to acknowledge that there are things happening in this world that we've often turned a blind eye to. And by acknowledging some of those things and working with them, we can really help to de-stress our bodies, to program that hyper sense of stress that's always kind of with us.
Yes. Yes. And what you just said, I think is important in working with. So working with instead of against. Oftentimes we're trying to force ourselves into this structure, this box, this, the way the society is structured. We are not robots. We are not machines. Like we don't have the same energy every single day. And so being able to listen to our body and getting quiet, listen to our body, listen to how we're feeling and asking like what do we need in the moment? What do we need today? What is going to serve us? And so like with food, you might crave candy, but that's not going to make you feel better. Like maybe in the moment it's going to taste good, but what is your body wanting? Is it movement? Is it stillness? I work with a lot of women with ADHD, and managing our energy is important for all of us, but especially women with ADHD because our nervous systems can get overstimulated. And so forcing ourselves to do something that feels hard, that is hard for us at a time when our energy is low is going to make it that much harder. And so trying to structure those tasks that you need to do at a time when your energy is higher is better. So if you know that you're not a morning person, trying to schedule something early or something difficult first thing is not going to make sense. Like
Mhm.
looking at how your own personal energy flows and trying to structure what you're working on in a way that is more with your own rhythm.
Yeah. I have such respect for some of my friends who get up at 5 a.m. and work out. That is not my story. I like mornings, but I like the quiet of the morning. I like to do that, the time in my Bible. I like to read and do some just quiet time in that morning hours. I don't like to jump on my machine and start doing a workout, but I really do respect people who have that desire and that energy level, like you said, in the morning that is high energy. And you had said something also about how we are not robots. And immediately I thought, let's celebrate that. Let's celebrate that we are not so methodical and so robotic that we aren't emotional. And, I think we can celebrate our emotions and our successes and the organic nature of who we are as human beings, where we do interact with people. We do sense sadness and happiness, and we do sense another person's energy. And those are all really great things to celebrate and not to feel like, no, I have to be like this robot who just goes out and gets things done. We can do that too. But I think there's such a beautiful thing about the humanity that is so worth celebrating.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And, recognizing where where somebody is, showing up in a meeting and taking a time to kind of connect and understand where someone is and being willing and able to be vulnerable and to
Mhm.
hold space for someone if, that they've, I had something very unusual happen last week in a women's networking Zoom group. We were all put in breakout rooms and when we came back, the leader of the group was visibly upset. And she's like, something happened while you guys were in the breakout room. And she was visibly upset. But the way she handled it, the fact that she didn't try to hide that something had happened and just continue the meeting as if nothing had happened, even though you could tell something was wrong, just her being willing and able to hold the space. Then we consequently changed the rest of the meeting from what we were going to be doing. And we ended up going into a meditation and visualization that somebody else in the group ran and held for her to help her with what she had just been through. And so we all just like collectively came together as and supported each other with this situation that had just happened.
That is so beautiful. And something I think we need to keep in mind with our spouses, with our children, with our work environments, with our friends and our family. We kind of come to the table with an agenda. Everybody does. And the things they want to accomplish or the things they have to get answers to. And that's whether you're speaking with your husband, your wife, your child, or your office. And I think that we have to sometimes pause at first to just kind of assess the field and see yeah, just to take an assessment, take it a moment, take a breath to see what is the current energy level here. Is everybody ready for this conversation? Are we ready to dive into this business problem or this solution? And we don't. In the business world, we hardly ever do that. We just dive right past whatever's happening in the world. 5 people that we just really know and love and care about just got laid off, and now we're just diving into the next thing. Well, it would be such a more powerful conversation and probably a lot more productive if we discuss the big white elephant in the room first and then move into the next topic. And I think that's true of our personal relationships, our spouses, our kids, and business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so important. And that, that sensing of what's going on and feeling into it as this situation, like rather than, again, like you said, having this just moving right into the agenda, like moving too fast. Again, that slowing down allows us to be able to tap into that sixth sense as to what is really going on, what is maybe not being said.
Yeah. The output after having that sensitivity is just so much better, so much more true, so much more authentic when you take that pause. So that's really great advice yeah, I'll have to think about that one as well myself. Well, tell us a little bit more about this book. Where can people find that and find you? And tell us a little bit more about all of that.
Yeah. So the book will be out on June 11th. It will be on Amazon. So it's really a blend of the stories from my life and the work that I do with women. So it's kind of a lessons learned, things like when I was not standing up for myself or not advocating for myself or not putting my self care first and the things that happened in those situations. But every chapter ends with tools and tips and exercises to do. So there's some active things to do in there, but really is about, again, personal transformation and resilience. It's based on the element of fire. So that's why the book is called Burn. So every chapter has a fire element, a fire theme. So there's analogies to that. And it's, walking through the fire. It's burning away things that no longer serve you. It's having a burning passion for something, or it's about, burning bridges or getting burned. Like there's so many different things that fire can represent. It can be destructive. It can be positive. It can, bring warmth like a campfire, or it can burn things down. So that's woven through the whole book. And there's that nature element. I have another book already like showing up in my head. That one's going to be based on water and be about grief and emotion and flow. But yeah, this one is about doing hard things, living through hard things, and continuing to change and embracing change. Like change is going to happen whether we like it or not. And leading into non attachment and to self care and to connection and just how that can all serve us.
Absolutely. You're hinting to me a little bit at some of the 5 elements that are in Chinese medicine and whatnot. How did you choose fire?
Yes. So it's yes, related to that, the into the 5 elements. Yes.
Okay.
So I don't know, actually I don't know. There's a phoenix rising on the cover of the book. So it's about, rising phoenix rising from the ashes, but it just showed up. Like I don't even remember deciding that. It's just like that just came into my consciousness that the whole book was going to be structured around fire.
Mm,
And maybe because it felt like when around the time I started writing it, that my life felt like it was on fire.
sure. Yeah. And that's such a brilliant visual because you're right. Fire can destroy or fire can build up and keep us warm. And it can be comforting or it can be terrifying.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I don't want you to give away too much of the book, but I wonder if, in light of the conversation, if you could give a couple, 1 or 2 tips from the book that might give us a sneak peek into some of the things you cover, something that might help maybe somebody listening who's kind of on that brink of burnout and needs to do something today that they could start shifting their energy. Do you have any suggestions for them?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's just so many. I mean, just thinking of something really simple like an exercise called forest bathing is which I had never heard of until a few years ago, but I realized when I looked into what it was that I'd been doing it really my whole life. And it's basically going into, and you can do it in a park but you could do it in a forest as well. And just walking again, that connection with nature and noticing 5 things that you see, 4 things that you hear, 3 things that you can touch, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. And you can even do that sitting in a room in your house as well, but it brings us into the present. So, presence is something I talk about a lot in the book, and doing that resets our nervous system. It grounds us. But doing that in the woods or in nature has that double that groundingness of being in nature, but also grounds us in ourselves. So that is one thing that I could share
I,
that someone could do today, and it doesn't take very long.
yeah, I love that. It reminds me, actually, quick side story. When I was a little girl, we lived right by a big woods. And when I needed to make big decisions about what college I was going to go to, or when I needed to make big decisions about what job I was maybe going to take, I would always go out to the woods. I'd always go out to the woods and I'd find a log and I'd sit on the log and just, I think, just innately knew that's where I needed to be in order to clear my mind and get away from the craziness so I could make a good choice. So I love that idea, that visual idea about forest bathing. No, you're not bringing sticks into the bathtub, friends. You're going out into nature. Oh,
Yes, well,
that's
that is so interesting that you did that as a kid because I did that as well.
mhm.
We lived near, lived on some acreage and there were woods around us, and my dog and we would go into the woods, sometimes for hours and just again sit and in the leaves or on a log or on a rock or a boulder and just look around and whatever it was, but it would
Yeah.
help calm me and it would help me with whatever it was that I was struggling with.
Yeah. Yeah. You really, when you have that moment of just quiet in a space of nature like that, I think you just start to marvel at the things that you looked past every other day. It's like, wow, I never noticed that tree bark, or I never noticed the way that bird, look at that bird, that the things that are just around us all the time, these little, maybe like a God wink that, where we're just, the Lord's just trying to get our attention of things that can bring us down into a space of peace. And we don't even pay attention to them because we're so busy looking at the next thing or listening to the next thing or, you know, whatever next shiny object comes into our view.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, well, you're making me want to buy the book and read the book. I think that's going to be a
Well,
beautiful journey.
thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, I am so excited, Michelle, for all that's going on in your life. I'm so excited for this book of yours. Thank you for stopping by the Sunshine Cafe and sharing with us a little bit of your insights and your wisdom. And I'd love to have you back again after the book's out and we'll hear a little bit more about how that's going.
Oh, thank you. I would love that. And I love the name of your podcast. Like it just makes me smile.
I'm so glad. Well, we're all here to just try to bring encouragement and inspiration, and you're doing a lot of that with your book as well. So thank you so much, Michelle.
Well, thank you. And thank you for the work that you do.
Michelle has such a calming way about her. I have 5 awesome takeaways for you today. Number 1, our transformation comes through struggle. Life is going to throw all kinds of unexpected challenges our way, but these struggles are where we grow, and it's really where our strength is born. So lean into those challenges, or at least try to lean into them versus avoiding them. Each difficulty is a unique opportunity to rise up and to become stronger, to refine your purpose, to build that confidence, and to reclaim your power. Number 2, self-care fuels everything. Wellness is not just about your body. It's also mental, emotional, and even financial. You cannot impact others effectively when you're sick and running on empty. So try to prioritize self-care every single day. Eat nourishing foods and rest well. Speak kindly to yourself and structure your life around the things that energize you. When you're feeling at your very best, every single part of your life is also going to improve. Number 3, listen to your body and pay attention to what kind of energy you have. We are not machines, and I praise God for that. Our energy ebbs and flows and is often quite unpredictable. Pushing through exhaustion to accomplish that agenda that you created days ago is only going to lead to more burnout. So take note of your natural rhythms and align your tasks with your peak energy times. Rest when you need it. Use those high energy moments for the work that really matters most. And don't forget to give yourself the grace to change the agenda so you can best match your energy and the focus you have for the day. Number 4 is be willing to slow down and notice the emotional energy, not just in yourself, but also in others, and be willing to adjust to it. Pausing to notice your own energy and the energy of others is going to strengthen relationships and allow for better communication. People show up more authentically when you are sensitive to unexpected things that they might be carrying in their mind and emotions. So before those big conversations, before those big tasks or the meetings where you have a huge outcome or a solution you're trying to figure out, take a breath and assess what's really happening here around the table. Are we all ready for this conversation? And then respond with kindness and empathy and allow a little space for the human side of the equation. Slowing down leads to clearer, more meaningful communication and outcomes. And number 5, finally, nature offers you the best reset for your mind and body. Spending a little time out in nature, even briefly, will ground you and actually will reconnect you with you. Michelle suggested a great tip. She said we should try that practice that she called forest bathing. Get outside into the park or a forest nearby and find a comfortable spot to stand or sit. And then take note. Take note of 5 things that you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell, and maybe 1 thing that you could taste. This simple act of intentional presence is going to reset your nervous system, clear your mind, and restore your focus. Hey, thank you friends for joining me today. If you would please share this episode because you never know what kind of encouragement might be in our conversation that someone else needs to hear. So pass it along, like it, share it, and subscribe. Let's work together to flood the world with more encouragement. Until next time, my friends, stay encouraged, be inspired, and I'll see you right back here next time at the Sunshine Cafe.